Hello, everyone. My name is Lance Smith. I'm coming to you from Southern California. Good evening to all of you. I want to, first of all, jump in here and thank you for joining me this evening. And I want to thank those of you that are jumping on here for the first time tonight. We have been doing this entrepreneurial movement opportunity blitz. This is call number 8 for the day. We've got one more in another 2 hours. And I hope that if you're jumping on for the first time, that you sit back and kind of relax. We're gonna have 9 more of these tomorrow, starting at 6 a.m. Pacific time, and you can get with the person advisor that can fill you in on the details. But it's great. It's been a fun day. We've seen a lot of excitement, and I can't wait to get into the details with you. But before I do, I just want to jump in here for those of you that are getting a chance to hear me for the first time and give you a little bit of a background. I'm from San Diego, California. When I was kind of came from a big family, one of 6. I was in one of those families that if you were late to dinner, you didn't get a chance to eat. I love that because my parents, from the time I was old enough, I got a job. I always tell people all the time that I was a trust fund baby, that my parents trusted I was going to go fund myself. And so I got a job as quick as I could, paid for stuff along the way. And I love the way I was raised, had a good work ethic. But at 19 years old, I was working in a retail store in San Diego, and one of my managers came back with a magazine, an Outdoor Life magazine, 1985. Had a picture of a girl in the middle holding a big halibut. I'm a fisherman. I love outdoors, hunting, fishing, that kind of stuff. And it had a picture of a girl, had a picture in the middle of it of a girl wearing a bikini and dolphin shorts holding a halibut. I said, "Man, that's my kind of woman." And he said, "Hey, that's the new cashier." And I said, "You're kidding." And so as soon as I could, I cut out of there, went through the line, and spent the next 4 years telling this girl that if she married me one day, that how great life would be, that we'd travel the world, she'd have nice cars, nice clothes, she could shop when she wanted. And she had no choice. She said, "I do." And she married me, and we got married at an early age. And ironically, working in retail, I'm from Southern California. And so working in retail, my wife was a banker at the time. After 2 years, we were flat busted. I mean, I'd get these letters in the mail that say, "Congratulations, you're approved." And I'd fill them out, send them out. We'd run that one up and then get another one and get another one. And it took me a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I came home one day and found my wife in tears because creditors have been calling her all day long. And she looked at me and said something to the effect of, "Hey, this wasn't what life was supposed to be like. You promised me something different." And I realized that she was absolutely right, that I really hadn't delivered. And I really wasn't even looking. I was kind of skating through life at that point. I thought things were great. But I realized that if we were going to start a family, that I needed to do something different. And so I spent my time and I started looking. I found myself at a point where I was looking. I started to I looked at anything I could, and this was 3 decades ago. But I was looking at golf course driving ranges. I was looking at laundromats. I was looking at franchises. I was looking at vending machines. I was looking for anything that I could do to kind of step up my game. One of the blessings I had is the retail store I worked for 7 years. One day, all of us at the store got a notice that said, "Unfortunately, we're going to close, and 16,000 of you are going to lose your jobs in 30 days." But they said, "If you help us close the store over the next 3 months, we'll give you a severance package." And so, since I had 7 years in, I spent the next few months helping them close, and I got a severance package for $172.76 with a thank you note attached to it. And I realized really quick right there that no one was going to take care of me. And I thought, you know what, this whole idea of working for 45 years, this doesn't make sense. And so, as I'm out there looking, fate would have it, someone showed up at my house, a relative, and showed me this idea of network marketing or affiliate marketing or e-commerce marketing, as we call it today. And it made sense. I wasn't looking for it, but it checked the boxes I was looking for. It was a low risk with a potential high reward. It was something I could do in my spare time. I could do it when I wanted to do it. I could do it where I wanted to do it. I could do it with who I wanted to do it. It just, for me, it made sense. There really wasn't much of a risk. I thought, hey, I'll get a chance to go spend some time with some very goal-oriented people, and we'll go from there. I realized I didn't like my computer, and so it didn't go dead. Let me just take care of that. So we started off, and I'd love to say that we had success overnight. We didn't. A lot of it was learning at the very beginning. I got around some people who thought differently than I did and who had a different lifestyle than I had, and I didn't realize that to do more, you had to think differently. And so I read a lot of books, and we went through a lot of changes. The second year, it started to come together. By the third and fourth year, it kind of came together in a big way. We went full time in the industry, and we absolutely love what it is we do. We've been doing it for over 3 decades full time, and we've been very, very blessed by this industry. But I want to tell you this: is that I had an eye-opening experience when Gemco closed, and for a lot of people, the eye-opening experience they had was the last 3 to 4 years. The last 3 to 4 years really flipped everyone on their head. Nobody was expecting a virus to come in. They weren't expecting to have businesses shut down, to people be kind of pitted against each other. It was a really difficult time for a lot of people. And there's several things that we learned from this. The first thing that we learned is that the old adage of go to school, go to college, get a good degree, go work for a good company, work for 45 years, retire, live happily ever after. Those days are gone. Those days have been gone for a long time. As a matter of fact, the number two thing that we learned is that playing it safe is really the new risky. Everyone I know that says, no, I don't want to risk this, I want to risk that. They really settle for a one income lifestyle. A lot of those people got crushed during the COVID time. And unfortunately, a lot of them still haven't recovered. I can't tell you how many people I know that either own restaurants or storefronts or had a career that they thought this was stable and I'm just going to ride this one out. And unfortunately, when you start to get cut, those are the people they cut first, because life, if anything, it's just going to continue to change and evolve. And lifetime learning is really a requirement no matter what field you're in. And a lot of people figured that out, that the greatest risk they could ever take is not taking a risk at all, not having other sources of income. That third thing they learned is that no one's going to save you. I know that the government tried as much as they could. They're sending checks out. Some employees came up with some benefits, but the truth of the matter is, everyone realized pretty quick that if they're going to make it, it's going to be up to them to get through it. I'll tell you the fourth thing people realize, and this is kind of a gradual thing. I've been doing this for about 30 years. I've been blessed to speak around the world to millions of folks over the last 30 years, and we've had a great time doing that. But when I got involved years ago, I think people would look at success and they'd look at a big house, they'd look at nice cars, designer clothes, and say that person's successful. And there's been a shift. There's been a big shift that truly the new wealth is actually having time, having control of your own time, being able to live a life by design. It's being able to have great relationships. It's being able to have your health. Those are all the things that really people look for to success today. And so having to work, for all those years for just to create an income and lose their life, it just didn't make sense for a lot of people. And so a lot of people have figured out that they want something different. And I'll tell you the fifth thing, and that's why we're here, is that there's never been a greater time to have an opportunity than there is right now. It is amazing where we're at in history, and there's more people looking than I've ever seen in my lifetime. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull up this real quick, and we're going to talk about change, and we're going to talk about why now and the shift. So one of my favorite quotes is a quote I heard a long time ago, that the only constant you ever have in life is change. And it is absolutely true. You look at the evolution of technology, look at the evolution of relationships, business, society. All of it's changed over the last 30 or 40 years, and some for the good and some for the worse. But if you would have told me 20 years ago that the largest taxi company in the United States, Uber, would be a company that doesn't actually own any cars, I'd have thought you were crazy. If you would have came up to me and said the largest media company, Facebook, really doesn't even create any media, I would have thought that was crazy. You take something like Alibaba, who's one of the top retailers out there, that really doesn't even have any inventory. Or you take Airbnb as a company now that from an accommodation standpoint, bigger than anyone else, and they don't even own any real estate. And all of these ideas have shifted. I look at retail today. It's Christmas time, and years ago I'd go to the malls and the Black Friday sales and go through all that. And I think my phone, my doorbell rings 2 or 3 times a day of people dropping things off. And so there has been an amazing shift, but that shift has opened up opportunity. And what I want to do is I want to go from a sales perspective, because that's the field that I've been over the years, and it's also the reason why we're here. If you take the actual evolution of the business model of actually sales, when I was looking at franchises years ago, I realized I didn't have the money to go start a franchise. And so we started looking at doing, okay, well, maybe we can do some pop-up coffee shops and maybe compete with the Starbucks. And we'd get a kiosk and put it somewhere. We'd put some advertising up, and we could make some money with it. And so we started to do the model on that and look at it. And while there are people who do real well at that, the thing I realized is that's based on word of mouth advertising. It's one customer at a time. Even though you have small overhead, your demographics are just kind of the local people in the blocks that are around you. Nobody's going to go drive 30 minutes to go get your coffee. And most importantly, is it was a do-it-yourself. That even if you got so good at selling coffee, or even if we got so good at selling coffee that we could quit our jobs, we really just changed one profession to another, because we'd have to continue to be there to sell coffee. And so then when I looked at the storefront ideas, and I coming from a retail background, I worked in retail for 7 years. I enjoyed it. I liked working with people. I liked helping people solve their problems. Didn't necessarily like the pay, and I couldn't support a family on that pay. But if you open a business like that, you're still dealing with the word of mouth advertising. You're going to have to do some public advertising through social media or through the newspapers or through television. It's going to be more overhead. You could serve multiple customers. You can make more money. But it really is kind of a glorified version of the startup where, you're the first one there, the last one to leave, the last one to get paid, and all the expenses and all the stress end up being put on you. And I was at a retail store just doing some Christmas shopping just recently. And I went into a store here in California, and California is just crazy with the regulations. I went back in the bathroom, and you had to go by the employee area. And they had a wall that was literally 40 feet long in small print of all the regulations of what the employees' rights were and the employer's rights and all the insurances and all the things you couldn't do. And I'll tell you, I've got some friends that have traditional brick and mortar businesses, and I've got mad respect for them because it really does take a lot of effort. And really to survive, a lot of them have had to change and make a shift going from brick and mortar only to a hybrid of a storefront plus an online marketing, that leads us to the next phase, which is the virtual or the online marketing. This one started up in the 90s into the 2000s, and it was an exciting time. I was actually in the industry at this point, and when we first got involved, we were actually called distributors, and things would come to us directly, and we'd have to ship them, and we'd have to handle a lot of products. And so I was excited to see it go online because it opened up a lot of things that we didn't have anymore. We weren't limited as far as from a geographic standpoint. We could use advertising and search engines. We had word of mouth that we could still go ahead and do. The overhead was still there, but it wasn't significant. And we still were doing shipping and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of companies that went out there and built big business. The Amazons of the world and those all kind of came up in that time frame and started selling books. And now the biggest retailer that's out there. But there's been a further evolution, especially through COVID and just to recently. And I want to talk about the social e-commerce possibilities of what we're able to do. What this allows us to do is it allows us to go ahead and develop a business that's based really on relationships and shared interests, and then we can leverage global economy and minimal overhead. And let me just give you an example from my perspective. When I first got in the industry, again, it was 3 decades ago. I had an office upstairs here that's about 1,500 square feet. I had a desk. I had a phone that plugged into the wall. I had a fax machine that made funny noise. And if you ever left the fax out in the sun, it went away. Some of you can kind of relate with that. When a cell phone came out, it was a big brick thing that I carried around. But I had a home-based business. I kind of took that home-based business and we went online. And so we did some shipping out of here. And that home-based business eventually shifted because everything I had on my desk up there, from my computer to my calendar to my Rolodex, everything is now on my phone. And so we went from having a home-based business to a phone-based business. And I'll tell you the other major shift is this has evolved. Is years ago, the way that you would advertise is you'd get some celebrity, you'd put them on television, they'd drive around the car and they'd tell you that hey, you got to go buy this car. And that was the macro influencers, the celebrities, the people that made the money were all of those. And as we went online and certainly the social media, there was a shift, and a lot of that money went to people who were entrepreneurs. And they also went to people who were influencers who could get a following, and whether it be through YouTube or through any of the other social media channels, get a group of people that would listen to them and they could sell them products. I was just on a website the other day. I'm a fisherman, and so I follow a couple of fishing sites, and one of the guys I follow has got 1 million people, and he's out there pitching knives and pitching all kinds of stuff, and he makes millions of dollars doing that, which is kind of a cool thing. But I'm going to show you in a minute how what we launched this last year takes it a step further than that, because let's just kind of wrap this up. So in a startup, what you're basically seeing is you're seeing basically selling direct to the consumer. You got a product, you sell it direct to the consumer, they come by, you hand them a product. It's one-to-one. If you take the storefront, you're going to go ahead and do a store to a customer, and you're going to have multiple customers. The virtual online, you're going to be able to go out there and you're going to share with folks to be able to sell things with them. And that's a great model, but I'll tell you the limitations of it. And let me tell you, not in the online world, but in the real world. When I was looking at franchises years ago, one of the models I looked at was I thought, well, I'd love to have like a McDonald's or have a Jack in the Box or one of the big ones that were out there. The limitation of those is if I became successful doing that, I couldn't really teach other people how to do it, even though I knew how to do it. Once I learned this, how they do it, and 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, once I do all that, I can only sell it to the customers, and I can open another franchise if one came available, but I really couldn't teach it to people that I cared about. And that was a frustration of mine. And I see a lot of today's world, all a lot of these influencers and a lot of these people that are online that have, big followings, like my fishing guy on YouTube. Those guys are able to make money, but they're not able to really bless the lives of other folks. And I was looking for something that would take it a step further. And that's really where the social e-commerce came along, because what we're able to do is we're able to have a platform that literally is run by itself. They have their own logistics, they have their own marketing, their own shipping. They do all of the stuff on their end that I don't necessarily need to do. Really, what we're doing is we're talking about products that we've tried that we like. And that really is what we're doing in general. And that's the nature. I mean, we're all doing this, whether you're involved with us or not. You go to a good restaurant or you go to a good movie, you jump on Facebook. The first thing you do is you say, hey, go check this out. Your friends and family go, money is exchanged. It's just you don't get paid. You're doing it as an amateur, not as a professional. And when they told me, hey, you could do this as a professional, for me, that made a lot of sense. I had a friend of mine that a few years ago lost a bunch of weight. And there's a place that sells, it's a national chain that sells the protein shakes and the supplements he was buying. And he went around for a year telling people to go to this place, and this is where he got his products. And I bet he moved $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 over that time frame and didn't receive a penny from him. But we're all doing that anyway. What we're doing here is we're finding a way to where we can talk about things that we've tried that we like and monetize it. And so when we went ahead and got involved in this business, and I'll talk about 3 in a few minutes, we have a particular collagen product that my wife went ahead. She tried it, got a good result, did a before and after picture. She put it on Facebook. And next thing I know, there's like $1,750 in our back wallet. And then a few months later, another $1,750 shows up. And I asked my wife, I said, what's this? And she says, it's mine. And because she was able to draw customers when you have products that people like, and they'll listen to you. And that's the other thing is we went from the macro influencers to these, to the people who are the major influencers, to really micro influencers over the last couple of years is really where people are putting their trust. For whatever reason, over COVID, a lot of people lost trust for other people that they don't know, don't understand them, or don't know their character and integrity. And so it's the micro influencers. And who's a micro influencer? You are. I am. Anyone who's got a couple hundred people on their phone, and maybe 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people on their social media platforms. That's where people are listening to. There was a study that recently came out that said people are 80% more likely to listen to advice or recommendations from a friend or a family member or someone they trust than they are a commercial. And so people are realizing that there's a shift here, and that's putting the power in our hands. And so everyone out there wants to monetize that, and that gets exciting. And so as we picked up customers, what we found is that there are other people around the world that wanted to have businesses like us. And unlike the McDonald's, where if I learned about McDonald's, I started another one or taught my family how to start one, I'd get sued and I'd lose my franchise. Here we actually encourage you and we teach you and we actually support you and help you build a business that can go around the world, that literally you can build teams everywhere. And I remember I think it was Rockefeller that said, I'd rather have 1% of 1,000 people's or 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. And that's where we leverage this platform, this social e-commerce platform. And so let's talk about the ecosystem of what we've put together. First of all, what you need a provider and a platform. And this provider and platform has got to be somebody that understands the products, the services, the management, the research, development, logistics, all of those things. And when we got together years ago with our partners, we sat down and as we were looking at putting something together, we said, we need somebody to go run this. So we reached out to a gentleman named Daniel Pacu, and there was Troy Moore, and other people that really have a great understanding. Now, I will tell you, I've been in the industry for 3 decades. I've been with $3 billion companies. I've worked with executives and owners of billion-dollar brands. And there is no provider or platform that has better quality of people than what we've got over here with 3. We're a startup, but we're not a startup. We've got people who understand it. They get it. They've got a big mission to build something big. They didn't come in here to do something small. They've got the right character and integrity, and they've got my trust. And so I've got that side of it. I've also got a group on the other side that is the participants. And when we got together, if you take the top, maybe 20 or 30 leaders that are part of this launch of this company, they've done billions of dollars of volume over the last 15 or 20 years. And so even though it is a startup, it's not a startup. We've got a global community that's already in place. We launched in 14 different countries. And so we're the software. So the provider and the platform, they ship all the products out. They handle the returns. They pay the commissions. They do all that they do. Really what we do is we get paid to go talk to people. And my kids had a hard time understanding that. They said, so how many millions? And we told them how many millions. They said, so how do you make what, all you do is talk to people. I said, that's my job. That's what we do is we talk to people. And I love that part of it because we don't necessarily have to do the heavy lifting like the platform does. We're just sharing an idea of better health and better wealth. And it's making sense to people. And so we're getting a lot of attraction. From there, from an influencing standpoint, there's three things that are really putting this together that is making this project that we're putting together grow faster than anything I've ever seen. First of all, it's the economy. Years ago, I watched the presidential campaign go, and I think their slogan was, "It's the economy, stupid." And right now, it's the economy. That's the number one thing on most people's mind. People are struggling financially. 64% of the people in America, from a latest survey, they're living from paycheck to paycheck. They're looking for something else. They realize that they can't rely on something else. They realize nobody's going to save them. And so having a multiple income streams, and I'm telling you, even if you don't get involved with what we're doing, do something, because the days of putting all your hope and faith in one company or one income stream and keeping your fingers crossed, we just don't have that luxury anymore. From a timing standpoint, the timing couldn't be better. We went through COVID, and people really went through a tough time, and some of them handle it better than others. But for the most part, people lost hope. They're frustrated. A lot of them have given up. I was telling a group earlier today that I went through for a walk here by my house, and we passed probably 15, 20 people. I say hi to everybody, but only 3 or 4 of them said hi back. The rest of them were kind of looking at the ground. And man, I'm telling you, there are people that are frustrated. They need something else. And for a lot of us that came together, even though we didn't need to necessarily do this, we just know that the world needs to have hope, and they need to have opportunity. They have to have a reason to live and something to do. And the timing couldn't be better for that. And trend, I'm going to talk about health and wellness and proactive wellness of looking better, feeling better, living healthier life. That's a trend that you want to be right in the middle of. And so we're very excited about that. So let me go into a bit of the science of this and kind of tell you where our company comes in and what we do. So I want to introduce you a guy named Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan is a good friend of mine. He's I can go through all his accolades about being in Caltech and all the degrees he's got and he's got a bunch of patents. He's got he's done a bunch of formulations. He's one of these guys that, I don't think in scientific terms, this guy does. And I'll tell you the purpose. And I'd love to have you hear it from him one time. But he says when he was younger, he had somebody that he cared for a lot that was a relative of his that passed away. And they were a scientist. And they passed away at an early age. And he thought to himself, how cool would it be to be able to grow up and be able to know science well enough to be able to allow people to live longer. Because the truth of the matter is, if you lose your health, you lose everything. I was telling a group earlier today that Ray Kroc, I read his book, and when he died, he was, I think, in his late 50s or early 60s, and he was the wealthiest man in the world. And I always ask, well, how much do you think he would have given of his wealth if he could live another 10 years? And the answer is all of it. He would have given everything to live longer. And Dan looked at this and said, the idea of proactive wellness would be if you can go ahead and get people to become healthy, because in today's world, most people just live their life. They got stress. They got all these things that are kind of hitting them. They don't have bad nutrition. And then they get sick, and they show up into the medical. And I don't want to beat that profession because we've got a lot of great people over here, but a lot of times people don't seek help until after they're already sick, and then they're prescribed something rather than doing daily activities that help them stay healthy. And Dr. Dan said, if we could be proactive about our health, and we can get the right nutrients, the right minerals, and the right products in our body, and we can get them absorbed to where it could make a difference, people could live longer, and they could prolong the time that they're sick, or even keep them healthy until later in life. And how he's going to do that? Well, a couple of things is he knew what we all know, really, that there's enough nutrients that are out there that if we get them in our body, that they'll make a difference. Unfortunately, we just don't. You got soil depletion, you got toxic, stuff. You got sun damage. I was reading an article recently that said if you had a pear in 1950, you'd have to eat like 35 or 40 pears or peaches, peaches today to have the same nutritional value you did years ago. And so what Dr. Dan did is he dug really deep into delivery technologies. And I'm not going to go through all of it. We have videos that can explain it. But the bottom line is this: it's not what you eat. It's what you are what you eat. No, it's not that. You are what you absorb. And most people, when they eat something, they'll absorb 5%, 10%, 15%. And what Dr. Dan and this group have put together is a way where you could actually take these nutrients and get 30%, 40%, up to 95% absorption rate through a lot of the technologies they have. They've got 10 different patents. They're working on number 11. I'm excited to hear about that. They've got third-party testing that actually shows the products that we carry and how much they're absorbed into the skin. And I will tell you, I took vitamins for years, but I ended up having very yellow urine. It's really where most of it went. I don't know if I absorbed much of it. And I really am confident in the science that we have over here and excited about the what these guys are doing. We also have a scientific advisory board that actually came on board pro bono. And this is such a cool story because these people have bought into what Dr. Dan's doing. They love this idea of a proactive wellness. They believe in the cause. And so they've actually spent the last year donating their time to help be part of this cause. And I remember one of my favorite parts of Forrest Gump is the movie Forrest Gump. Is he wakes up one morning and says, "Hey, for no particular reason, I decided to take a run," and he ran through Georgia and Greenbow County and whatever. And he made a statement. He says, "For whatever reason, what I was doing made sense to people, and so I got company." And what Dr. Dan is doing has made a lot of sense to a lot of us. And because of that, he's got company. He's got some great doctors, 8 or 9 of them right now that are actually on the scientific advisory board. I think according to one of my partners, I think we have well over 100, 150 new doctors that have joined this cause to be a part of this movement. And not that you have to be a doctor, but it sure is nice. It makes me sleep really good knowing that there's a lot of really smart people helping put this together. One of the recent studies that we had has come out is an epigenetic study that shows how genes get turned off and they get turned on. And some genes you want to have them go on, and sometimes you want to have them go off, and you don't want to mix them up. And these guys have been digging in, and they did a third-party test that you can, if you want to geek out over it, you can kind of jump into that one and show what our products are able to do. And finally, all of our products are the PDR, which used to be the physician's desk reference, now is the prescriber's digital reference, which means you aren't going to get in there with things that aren't whole foods that really don't make a difference in people's lives. You can't buy your way in there. And all of this gives me confidence. And I can't wait till you go spend some time and really dig into the details of what it is that we've got and the science behind our products and the products that we carry. And by the way, we carry 6 products, but they're actually one product. They're one system, but they're in 6 different delivery systems. And so they come in 6 different products. And we love them. We've been on them for 8 or 9 months, and it has absolutely changed my life. So let's talk about a couple more things, then we'll wrap this thing up. The first thing is that you've got a lifeline, a timeline. And, we're all born, obviously. We get to the point where we're at now, and then we get to, where is it we're going to go? And I know when we're born, the opportunities are limitless. You start down a path and you could go this way or that way, and you pick a path and you pick another path. And what ends up happening is you end up going down this timeline and you get to the point where you're at today. And now we all look back, and some of us look back and we'll say, we like some of the stuff we chose, but there's other choices that we probably would do over. But the thing about it is you really can't go back and relive the past. But what you can do is you can recreate the future. From today moving forward, the choices are limitless as far as what it is you can do. And I will tell you, my wife and I will live our lives as though the rest of our life is going to be the best of our lives. And we've traveled the world and we've had some great times, but I've never been in a spot that I'm at right now with people I care about like I do right now. And I just can't wait to see where we're going. And so I guess my question for you is, you've got your past, you've got the future, but what about now? Are you open? And what I mean by that is this. Are you wanting some more in your life? For all of us out there, we got to at some point look at where we're at and be honest with ourselves. Because the truth of the matter is, it's not the lies that other people tell us that mess us up. It's the lies we tell ourselves. And sometimes we look and we'll say, hey, things are okay. And if they're not okay, I'm telling you, you've got to make a change. If nothing changes, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten. And the truth is that absurdity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And so are you where you're at? And maybe you are. Maybe you're at a spot where you're crushed in life and you're exactly on course. You got your goals lined up. You got a bright future ahead of you. I will tell you that maybe our business isn't for you, but I'd stay on our products because they're going to keep you healthier longer. Certainly what I do. But if you're at a spot where you're looking and that where you are and where you're going is unclear, I would say, man, take a really deep look at this thing. Again, to say this has changed my life would be an absolute understatement. It's changed every part of our life for the better, and I absolutely love what it is that we do. And so, what is it you want? If you could define that, and my next question would be: do you have a vehicle for that? There are opportunities out there, but a lot of them you've got to go seek them out. Whether you get involved, I would suggest that you thank the person who invited you to get on this call because they paid you a huge service. We're just launched this company. We're just getting rolling, and we do have a vehicle that I believe in the 30 years that I've been in this industry, the 3 decades, this is the best vehicle that I've ever seen. It's got, and for lots of reasons, and I'll kind of wrap up with that. And then, do you have an action plan? And we have got all of those things. Our plan is fairly simple. It's going along with 3. It's just 3 steps. The first thing you do is you learn. We've got a lot of information that we're going to shoot out to you. I'll talk about a couple of them here in a minute, but the person that invited you can get those to you and spend some time studying. You don't have have to be an expert to get started, but it's certainly you want to have confidence in what we're doing from an opportunity standpoint and from a from a product standpoint, is from a health and wellness standpoint. Second is kind of do it. We go out there and what do? We share this idea with people, and what happens? Well, they either say, no, it's not for me. And that's okay. I've had people, I'm kind of surprised nowadays with this company and the products we got if I get a no, but when people say no, I wish them the very best. I usually give them a couple of samples and see how it affects them, and I wish them the best. The second type of person looks at it and they want to become a customer, and that's great. We've got thousands of customers that have joined this, and I love hearing their stories of the products and how they're benefiting people's lives. And the third person is somebody who goes along and says, you know what, I want to be part of this. I want to build something big, and that's where we go into the teaching people, where we end up building our business. And so, kind of to wrap this thing up, we have a turnkey business opportunity that we're offering you. The first of all is our platform. It's got their own app. They've got their own website. They've got videos from Dr. Dan. They've done a great job in marketing and putting this part together from a product standpoint and from a support standpoint to help you support your business. For those of us that are actually out there building it, we've got some tools in place. We just launched what we call a welcome orientation workbook, or WOW, that goes through the details of how to do this, because the truth is the matter. If I wanted to start a restaurant, let's say I want to start an Italian restaurant, could I go to somebody successful in the neighborhood and have them teach me how to do what they're doing? No, they're not going to teach me how to do it, because they know I'm going to open up a restaurant and I'm going to compete with them. Our business is totally different. Our business is based on the success of others, and for us to win, we've got to help other people win. And so we want to teach you exactly how the thing works. I could give you my phone number right now, and I'll tell you how many things could you change and it still get me. You can't. We have a system that's in place, and you have the freedom to do it. But again, we're going to teach you the shortcuts, and that's what this is about. So we also have some digital tools. The first digital tool is an opportunity showcase that you can get, and this will go more to the details of the opportunity. Goes to the movement of three, goes to the leaders that are involved, how the compensation plan works, gives you kind of a bigger vision of what it is that we're doing, and that's for people interested in the opportunity. There's also digital tool number 2 that goes to the science. These are the people that want to know about the products, the science, about Dr. Dan, about the epigenetic study, about the absorption studies and all that sort of stuff. And so that's easy to access. For me, I don't have to teach that stuff because I could be the messenger. I don't have to be the message. We have all of that memorialized for us. And then the next one is a tool to actually help people that want to build this and become build a brand ambassador and build a global business and be part of this entrepreneurial movement that we're part of. And so I thank my partners for putting this together. I think it's first class, and it really allows somebody to get involved and have a great understanding as far as what we're doing and where it is we're going. And so with that, I'll kind of wrap up with a couple of thoughts. The cycle of growth and transfer is that we learn. From that point, we go out there and we do. From there, we go out there and we teach. And from there, we go out there and lead. And this right here is what drives the change in this entrepreneurial movement. And I'm excited to be a part of it. And so let me hit the stop share. And just a couple of things real quick. Just to wrap this up. I want to tell you this, that, and this is just a kind of a personal insight. I know I'm only the eighth talk. We've got one more in about an hour and a half that I think Amy's going to be wrapping that one up. And then we've got, again, 9 tomorrow, starting at 6 a.m. If you're thinking about this, again, you don't have to get in this to try it. Why not talk to some folks get with the person that invited you that can give you a little bit of a script, and get some people on these calls tomorrow. I just talked to somebody a few minutes ago that actually had somebody get involved this morning. They let 3 or 4 people jump on. 2 of the 3 are getting involved, and those people have people on this call. And so it's exciting to see this expand itself out. But from a personal standpoint, you have to have the right foundation if you want to build something big in our space. I love my industry, and it's perfect until you throw people in it. But I found myself at 58 years old at a point, or 57 years old, where I thought, you know what, I've got one more good run. I don't have 5. And it better be with the right people at the right time. And I'll tell you, I've got absolute confidence in the corporate side of this. They're some of the best executives, leaders, ownership, just some of the best I've ever seen. They're a pleasure to work with. They have the same ideals and values and virtues that we've got. And I'm excited to be partnered with them. The people that we've got, they're leaders in this field. We've got some of the best and the brightest. I mean, literally, if you were to do an all-star team and start a company with, we've got a team that's better than that, and we've got a deep bench to follow that. And we've got new leaders that are just showing up that really haven't been in this space. They're going to be future rock stars, and we're excited about that. But from the timing and the foundation, I'm telling you, I have 100% confidence that this is a business that's going to be $1 billion project. It's going to be a business I can pass on to my kids and grandkids, and that's what we're building it for. And so I'm excited about that. Excited about the science, the products, and I just want to say that this is that. just wrapping it up, there is something called a founders pack, and I want to, there's 4 packs to get involved. I don't want to really necessarily sell you. Get with the person who invites you, but those 4 packs start at $200, and they go to the Founders Pack, which is $1,900, around $2,000 plus tax and shipping. And the Founders Pack is something that we launched at the very beginning for the people to reward the people who caught the vision of what we were doing, saw the entrepreneurial movement, and wanted to be part of it, and decided to go ahead on faith and go jump on board with us. And so we open these packs up. It represents 2% of the global pool, the commissions pool that's going to get paid out to it. And we put a cap on that. And that cap is about to hit over the next few days. And so we wanted to do these calls as a kind of a final wrap, that if you're actually involved and you're not a founder yet, you've got a few days before you upgrade to the founder spot. And you don't have to do it that way. There's other ways to get involved. But I'm telling you, as we do this is kind of a math equation, because we cap the founders pool, and we're probably under 100 million. I don't know where our total numbers will be this year, but we're going to become a $1 billion brand. And when you have a certain amount of people who are the founders, and you have a 2% pool, and you have a company that's growing, the potential is there to be something very large in the long run if you decide to build this and do something with it. And so I certainly encourage you to ask about the Founders Pack, how that works, and take a serious look, because there will come a day where we won't have that. That's number one. And the second thing I'll just tell you is that, man, try this out. I laid there the first time I was thinking about this, and I thought, you know what? I said, who do I know that would like to look better, feel better, or make more money? Is there anyone out there like that? And I'm telling you, there are people out there praying for something right now. Maybe it's you that's praying for it. I know for me, I was praying for something. I didn't think this was it. I didn't think it'd be a health and wellness company. I didn't think it'd be in the e-commerce market, category. But it hit all the marks. I did my homework. I stuck in long enough to get a bigger vision of what it could do. And I thank God every day for it. And so with that, hopefully we'll see you jump on some of the calls tomorrow, invite some friends, bring them along, and get back with the person who invited you. So with that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everybody. Take care and have a great night.